Hey, Brother Sewing and Crafting family. I have a really fun show for you today and a very special guest. So, hi, I'm Angela Wolf. I'm a Brother brand ambassador, and we are again taking over the Brother Facebook and YouTube page. Welcome to the party. If you've never been here before, say hi, say where you're from. You know the routine, and everyone will help you if you forget. So today, we are going to do a zipper case. This is so cute. So my friend Reen from Embroidery Garden, if you've never met her, she's awesome. She's going to be joining us today, and we are going to be embroidery in the hoop. How cute is this? Reen sent this to me, which she's awesome because she knows that I wouldn't have had time to finish it yet. But here's the thing. If you have My Design Center in one of your Brother machines, you will be able to follow along. And what I would recommend is just watching so you can ask questions. Well, there'll be time at the end for questions, in the middle, whatever we do. And then if you share this to your timeline or save it, you can go back and watch it over again when you're doing this on your own. If you don't have My Design Center, you can still follow along, and Reen has some ideas for you. So how's that? So I see you all. Hey, Wolfpack, I just finished talking to you like 10 minutes ago in our Fashion Sewing Club, which was a lot of fun. So I grabbed some more tea. I love these live shows. It's like hanging out with people all day, even though I'm really kind of by myself. Not really, though. Oh, Lynn, great. So yes, tomorrow, by the way, tomorrow, God willing, that my husband doesn't end up in the hospital again, we will have our live show at noon tomorrow, just so you know the schedule. And tomorrow I'm showing you how to do a towel with an applique using the scan and cut and the embroidery machine. Another great tutorial to teach you how to use your Brother machines. And then right after that, we're going to be drawing for two sewing machines, two Brother sewing machines we're giving away. Because last week I had to cancel at the very last minute. Tomorrow, hopefully we don't have to, and there's going to be two lucky winners. So if you need help figuring out how to enter, just leave me a private message. You can message me on Facebook and I'll help you do that. All right, you ready? You all can hear me okay? Well, let's not make Reen wait. My dear friend Reen, hold on, let me just bring this. Hi, Reen.
Hi, Angela. How are you?
Good. So for those of you that do not know Reen, this is Reen Wilcoxson from Embroidery Garden in her beautiful studio. So Reen, I have to say, I love your new studio. If you guys haven't followed her, I'll put her information up here. Joanne's popping in to say hi. So I'm just curious, out of all of you here, have you ever gone to an event where Reen and I were at? Because we did quite a few through the years together, and now Reen has events all over the place. So say hi to Reen and say if you've ever been to her events. Reen, you have a lot of followers in here right now.
Oh, great. Glad to see everyone.
So Reen, what are you are so well known for your In the Hoop projects. And I have to tell you, I really wasn't a big In the Hoop fan until I saw your projects because you make the inside look better than the outside.
Well, you might as well finish off the inside if you're going to do something.
So tell everyone just a little bit about how you started your business. You've been in business a lot of years, but just give them a little quick synopsis for those that have no idea who you are.
Okay, so I've been in business for 19 years now. I started doing In the Hoop probably at least 15 years ago. I went out and bought an embroidery machine. And as soon as I bought it, I knew I wanted to create my own design. So I went to work at doing that. And then about 5-6 years ago now, I started doing events, traveling across the country, got to meet Angela and Joanne, and it's just been a lot of fun. You know, I've had a lot of people come to events, and I specialize in the hoop designs.
That's awesome. You have a ton of people on here that have been to your events. Somebody was on your cruise last year. Good thing you got that out of the way last year, not this year, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Reen, I'm so excited for this project.
Me too. I mean, I think it turned out really cute.
So what would be the materials? We know we're going to use My Design Center, and you're going to give them ideas at the end if they don't have that on their machine. But the My Design Center comes on a lot of Brother machines. But what materials do they need for this?
Well, basically, I am going to show you how to create the file yourself in My Design Center. You're going to need a zipper. You're going to need main fabric for the front and back. And you'll need lining fabric. And if you want a little hanger on it, that's optional, but I had an old tape measure that I cut up and put a swivel hook on it. And you need a couple small pieces of batting, and that's it.
I was wondering if this was special that you made. That's actually a tape. That's what a brilliant idea.
Yeah, it is an old tape measure I have. It was about 160 inches long, so I can make a lot of these.
So you guys can see the embroidery on here. Oh, thank you for the, oh, and my dress form.
Right, all of that came directly off of the machine.
And then here's the cute lining. So you can see what this looks like. Awesome, Reen. So let's get started. Why not?
Okay, so I came up with the idea. I wanted to make a scissor holder for a pair of scissors that I had. So when you're thinking about doing an in the hoop design, you really need to think about the steps. And I knew that I wanted to have a zipper to keep my scissors in and keep them secure. So I'm going to need a placement for my zipper. I need to know where to put it. And I like to have a tack down stitch on my zipper to sew 2 lines on my zipper to hold it down to the stabilizer so it doesn't shift on me or move. I'm going to also need a couple of stitch lines that are going to put the front fabric on and the inside lining fabric on below the zipper, and another stitch line that's going to attach the main fabric and inside lining fabric above the zipper. I'm going to need a stitch that's going to hold the back piece on, and I'm going to need the back inside lining. So I have to create all of these steps, and you can easily do it in my design center on the Luminaire. So you want me to head on over to the machine?
Why don't you head on over to the machine? Sounds good. You give me thumbs up when you're there. So she's using the Luminaire, which I have ready to go, but I thought it'd be better that I'll watch your questions while she shows you, and then I'm going to go back and watch the replay. So those of you that just popped in, don't forget, if you share this to your page, you'll be able to watch the replay. So I would highly recommend watching the whole tutorial first, and that way if you have questions while we're live, we can answer them for you, right? And let's see, there was one more thing. I saw somebody asking some questions. If I miss your questions, you can always ask them later when we take them. But we looked at her screen. You'll be able to see it fine. But my design center comes in more than just the Luminaire. You've got the Stellaire. You've got the Dream Machine. All of those machines had this in there. So go check it out if you have that embroidery. And if you don't have it, just enjoy. And you might have some ideas anyways. All right, so Reen is all ready for us. Let's bring Reen back up here. All right, Reen, we can see you great.
Great. So I'm in front of my machine. Now I know how big to make the different parts that we're going to need. I used a pair of 10-inch shears. I know they're 10 inches long, and I had to measure the handle, and they were 4 inches. So the scissors are 4 by 10 inches. Now, when I work in my design center, and all you do is just hit the button, go into my design center. Quickly, let me just tell you that these first 5 boxes here, those are line properties. Line properties are a zigzag stitch, a running stitch, a candle wick, a chain stitch, all those type of stitches. They're different lines. These boxes here, the 5 here are all the pretty fills, and I'm not going to get into doing any quilting on this today, but I will be using the eraser and what I call the shapes button. I kind of think the manual calls it the stamps button, but I call it the shapes button. So I wanted to make a scissor case. I usually go to the shapes. The first page here is just basic shapes. And when I was looking at it, I thought, this shape here looks like a scissor case. It's going to have to be turned around, rotated, but I decided to use that shape. So I'm going to hit OK. Now the shape's on the screen. And like I said, we need to rotate it because we want this point to be at the bottom. So if I hit rotate, I'm going to hit it 90 twice and put the point at the bottom. So there's the basic shape, but we have to size it. So I'm going to hit OK, and I'll hit size. Now I said that the
Reen, I'm just giggling because when I saw that triangle, all I was thinking was, all I see is a piece of chocolate, a diamond, a triangle. You have a really good imagination.
Yeah, and I use the rounded edge triangle too. There is one that has square edges, but I thought the rounded edge would be better. So when we make something that something specific is going to fit in, we need to make it bigger. Our scissors are 10 by 4. We have to have some ease. Just like when Angela makes a new garment pattern, she's got to put some ease in it so you can get it on and off, easily. So I thought I would add 1.5 inches in both directions. So right here, it'll tell you what size it is right now. Let's work with the width, which is the bottom number. And it was 4 inches. I'm going to make it 5.5. I'll add on 1.5 inches just to give it some ease. And the length, the scissors are 10 inches. So let's make it 11.5 inches. And you can see that top number change. You got to watch because you hold the button down and the numbers will fly.
While you're doing that, I'm just going to answer a couple questions on here. Yes, you can watch the replay. Just share this video if you're on Facebook to your timeline, and you can watch it. You can come back to Brother Sews, and it will be on the Brother Sews YouTube channel as well. Okay.
Okay, so I put 11:51. Does not matter if it's 50 or 51. Hit OK. So now you can see that this is going to be our outline stitch. When I create designs, I start with the last step first, because I need to know my shape, basically. So we have to be able to turn this to the right side. So we need an opening. So what I'm going to do is, well, first, let's go in. The machine will default to a zigzag stitch. And we don't want this to stitch together with a zigzag stitch. I want to use a running stitch. So if I hit the big zigzag, here are all those line properties I talked about. Zigzag, running stitch, triple, candle wick, chain, blanket, V-stitch, and then a bunch of motif stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the running stitch, and we're going to change the color. Now this is important. Every step that we create, we're going to give it a different color. The different color change is what's going to make the machine stop, so we can place our zipper, so we can place fabric, so we can trim and do everything. So each step will be a different color. Go ahead and hit OK. Then you have to hit the little bucket here and then touch the outline you made to apply it. And you can see that it turned red. So now I know this is a running stitch going all the way around. Now, like I said, we need an opening to be able to turn it to the right side. So I'm going to use the eraser. The eraser comes in two shapes. You can have a round eraser, a square eraser. I kind of like the square one, and I'll make it a little bit bigger. Now, before I started, I went into the settings button up here, and I made the grid be 1 inch. That's so that I can kind of measure on screen easier. To make an opening, I'm going to erase part of the outline, and 3 inches is a good size to be able to get your hand in, your fingers in, and turn something. So if each one of these squares equals 1 inch, I'm going to erase 3 of them. And I'll put the opening over here on this side. So I just touch the screen, and I'm going to start erasing about 3 boxes. 1, 2, 3. That's 3 inches.
Now they can see it. See that little opening, guys? She was touching the screen, so it just disappeared. It's like an eraser.
Right. And you have to make sure you get every single line out of there, because if you leave one little dot in there, that's a stitch. So go ahead and hit OK. Now that we've created the outline, we're going to save it. We're going to save every step that we make. So I'm going to hit memory. You can save to the machine. You can save to a USB stick. If you had a card, you could save to. I always save to the USB. That's just me. So just by touching the USB, that's been saved now. So we're on to the next step. So I want to get that off of there. So the next thing I need to make is a placement for our zipper. I need to know where I'm going to be placing the zipper when I stitch this out. Now, most zippers, regular dress skirt zippers, are 1 inch wide. So I'm going to make my placement 1 inch wide. I'm going to go back into the shapes, and this time I'm going to use the square. Hit OK. And then I'm going to size it. So I said it needs to be 1 inch wide. So let's work with that first. And you can see that top number dropping down. I'm going to get it to 1 inch.
Oh yeah, we can see that really good.
Good. I'm trying to keep my hand out of the way as much as possible.
We always call these lessons yoga sewing and yoga embroidery because you're trying to.
That's right. And remember, we made the basic outline shape, that triangle, 5.5 inches wide. I want to make this just slightly longer than that. So let's say 6 inches. So this is the bottom number. You can see it moving. Whoops. So now it's 1 by 6. That's good. This is our zipper placement. Again, I have to change the color because I want it to be a different color. So I just touch the button up there, and let's pick green. Doesn't matter what color we choose. I have to hit the bucket and touch the outline, and you see it turns green. Now we have our zipper placement done. I'm going to save that to the stick.
You make this so easy, Reen.
Well, everybody following me so far? Kind of understand where we're going with this?
Everybody's getting it. I don't see any. I have a couple questions, but nothing that we can't handle till the end. So far, everybody's watching, and if they are totally clueless, they'll see how this comes together, which is awesome.
Okay, so now we have the zipper placement. We'll know where to put our zipper. I like to tack the zipper down. So that's going to stitch 2 lines on either side of the zipper, catching the zipper tape. So we're going to use this exact same placement here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to erase the ends because I don't want it to stitch over the ends of the zipper. I just want it to go along the zipper edge.
So in case you guys couldn't see that real clear, she just erased the ends. So now she has 2 lines.
Right, it made 2 lines now. Now I have to change the color again to make this stop. Let's go ahead and pick pink, hit OK. You have to hit the bucket, and then I'm going to have to touch each line, and they turn pink. So this is going to be my zipper tack down. So it needs to be a little bit narrower than the placement so that it catches the edges of the zipper. So right now you see I can't, this button's size, but actually I could change the size of these lines, but it's grayed out. So I can hit trace and then just draw a box around it. And now you see it's highlighted. It turned it red. So if I go into size, I'm going to drop the width down, let's say like 0.7. That'll catch the edges of the zipper. Okay, hit OK. And I'm ready to save this step. Just hit memory and my USB stick. So now we have the tack, the placement. We have the tack down. Now we need the 2 lines that are going to sew the main fabric and the lining fabric to the bottom of the zipper, and the stitch line that's going to stitch the main fabric and the lining above the zipper. Very easy to do that with the 2 lines we already have. So first, let's go in and change the color of those lines. Each one of these lines is going to have to be a separate color because it needs to stop so that we place these fabrics below and then stop to place the fabrics above the zipper. So we can pick any color, doesn't matter. Let me pick orange, hit OK. You always have to touch the bucket to apply, and I'm touching the top line and it turned orange. Now I'm going to go back to the colors. I'm going to pick a different color I haven't used yet. I don't think I've used blue. Hit OK. The bucket is highlighted already, and I'm going to touch the bottom line, and now it turned blue. So these are, I call them stitch lines. They're going to actually stitch the fabrics to the zipper. So I can go in, and I'm going to save that step. I think we only have one more step to go. Any questions?
No, there's a couple questions about the stylus, which you guys can message her about the stylus. It's not a brother product, but if you message her, she'll tell you what it is. And also, I saw someone just said, how do you draw a straight line? Theirs are always wonky.
The next step, we have to draw a straight line.
Well, so, there we go.
We'll go with that. These are straight because I used a I used a rectangle. I'm sorry, I used the square, and I just resized it and made, a rectangle and made lines. So it was already straight. Now, the next step we're going to need, we have to attach the back piece on, but we don't have to sew all the way around it. We're just going to stitch it on by just one single line. So let me go ahead and clear this off the screen. It's just erasing everything off the screen. So I'm going to draw a line. So this is your drawing tool right here. Whoops, I have to go into this under the settings here. The first one draws, you can draw a squiggly line, a curved line. The second one draws a closed curved line. The next one is a straight line. And then the last one is like a point to point. I could actually draw a box and close a box in. So let me pick the straight line. Again, let's take a different color. Let's see, I don't think I use brown. Hit OK. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to touch the screen, and I can just do it with my finger, touch the screen and draw just a straight line down. Now I want this line to be, can you see that line? I know it's probably it's a little faint, but remember when we did our outline and we erased part of it over here on the side, and I erased 3 inches. I want this line to be about 4 inches long. So how do I know how long I have it? Well, I could count the boxes that I have on the screen, or I could just come down, and since size is grayed out right now, I need to select it. So I'll hit the trace, draw a box around it. Now you can see it's selected. Go into size, and it is about 5.5 inches. So let me just bring it down to about 4 inches.
We can see it good now with that box around it.
Okay, and hit OK. And I'm going to save that step to the stick. So those are all the steps that we need, because the last step that's going to stitch it all together, we created that first. That was the overall outline shape. So now what we have to do is we have to bring all the steps back in again in the order that we're going to stitch them out in. So one thing that's good about saving each individual step, say I have a pair of scissors that are 8 inches. All I have to do is bring my pieces back in and just resize them. I don't have to go back and start over and recreate everything. So everybody following me now?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to clear everything off the screen, and we're going to start bringing in the pieces that we need. So the first thing we need to bring in is our zipper placement. And to recall from memory, you're going to use this little pocket with the arrow at the top of the screen. I saved them on the USB stick. They're in the B pocket. And that first step was our zipper placement. Hit OK. It brings it in. And here's a tip that I like to do. I like to either hit size or rotate, doesn't matter which one, because it opens up this little box down here. I always like to center it just by touching that circle.
Oh, Reen, that is such a great tip.
It is, because once we get over to the embroidery side, our pieces are going to be centered, and we want them all to be centered when we start, and because we're going to have to move this stuff around once we get over there. So we hit next.
Yes, April, the replay will be up for you. No problem.
I'm going to hit set. And this tells me that I'm going to be turning this, what I drew, into an embroidery pattern. We're leaving my design center, and we're going to go over into the embroidery edit screen. So I have it, that's our zipper placement. I'm just leaving it right there. Now to get our next step in, which is the zipper tack down, I'm going to hit add, because we're adding another step. Go back to my design center, go back to the pocket up here to get the next step, go to the USB again, go to the B pocket. And the next step was the tack down of the zipper. Hit OK. Again, I want to center it. Hit next. It's going to give me the same message over again, saying that we're going over to my design center. I'm sorry, going over to the embroidery. We have to add, we got to get our next step. Go back to my design center, go back to the memory, back to the USB, back to the B pocket. And the next step we're going to do, that we're going to bring in, are those 2 stitch lines, the ones that are going to stitch the fabrics to the zipper. And that is this step right here. I'm going to hit OK, hit next, get the same messages again, hit OK. Now we've got our zipper placement, our zipper tack down, and we've got the step that's going to add the fabrics to the top and the bottom. I wanted to add an embellishment on here. And just like on Angela's, I added something on the front of hers. So to get everything to stitch in the order that we want it, we're going to hit add, and we're going to bring in those steps right now. You can bring in anything that you want. I'm using things that are built in off the machine to use on mine. So let's see, I went into number 5. I guess that's Decorative Stitches. And this is where I found Angela's, the one I put on Angela's, the little dress form and the other stitches like that. So you got a whole bunch of decorative stitches here that you can use.
Okay, Reen, I have been using the Luminaire for a couple of years, and I had no clue that that was in there at all.
And I just passed up that little dress form that I used on yours. Here's some, yeah, here it is right here. There's the little dress form.
Oh my gosh.
And then I also used this one on yours too. One of these 2, it's sewing themed. I think it was this one with the spool of thread, the pin cushion, and the scissors. And what's cool about these is you can bring them in and you could join them together and make a whole line, you know, and stitch them on something. So I think I used this one. It's sort of a sketchy looking design, meaning it's not really filled in all the way. It's just kind of sketchy looking, kind of, I don't know, old sewing looking to me. So that's why I wanted to use that. So I brought that in. I'm going to hit set. We're going to add another one. You know, some people might think I could have went into, let me go back here. I could have went into edit and copied and pasted that scroll. But the problem is if you do that, what it's going to do is it's going to put that next scroll that you just brought in at the very bottom of the stitch order. So you will have to toggle back and forth through the design. And I want everything to be, you know, in the order that it's going to stitch in without having to toggle through anything. So I'm going to go back and add, go back to number 5, the decorative stitches. And I'm going to do another one of that. That was number 174. I can find it here. Okay.
I always have to put little notes when I'm trying to find another design that I've used because I can never remember where it was.
Right. So you can see I kind of arched one over the top of the letter and arched one under it. So now I need to add my letter. And then you want to use the fonts in number 2. The ones in number 3, those are those really big, pretty fonts that, you know, end up being bigger than our scissor case. So we have to use ones from number 2. And you have, you know, a bunch of different styles you can pick from. I think on mine, I picked number 17. And there's the R. Go ahead and hit set. So now I've got my decorative elements in. We have to go back and we have to finish bringing in the construction steps. Go to my design center. Go back to the memory pocket. Back to the USB stick. Back to the B pocket. And the next step we need is that, that single line that we made. Actually, the single line is going to close up that opening in the very last step. So we go ahead and hit that, hit OK. Next. Set. OK. And the very last step we have to add is our outline step that we created. And whoops, I have to go back to my design center, back up here to the memory pocket, back to the USB stick, B pocket, and here's our final step, which is the outline. Hit OK, hit next, Hit set, hit OK. And now we have all of our elements. They're all kind of jumbled up on the page though. So now we're going to have to move these elements around. So the very first thing you can see, the red box is around that outline. Now I didn't go back and center it. So I'm going to go ahead and center it now before I do anything. And you see it moved a little bit. That's why you always want to center things. So now that that's centered, if I use these arrows here, these select arrows, if I hit the arrow, the next arrow over, it's going to select one of the next things. And what it has, you see the box around it, it has the zipper placement. So let me go back into edit. Whoops. Size. I just want to make sure that it's centered. And I'm going to use the arrow to move that placement up. Now, how do I know where to put the placement? I'm just putting it where I think it looks nice to me. I know that each one of these squares is 1 inch. So when I was thinking about it, I thought maybe about 1.5 inches down, maybe 1 inch down. So you can sit here and you can play with this all day and move it to where exactly you want it to be. That placement looks fine for me. If I hit the select button, it's going to pick up the next part of the design we brought in, which is the zipper tack down. Make sure that it's centered, and I'm going to move it up, and I'm going to center it inside of the placement. It's a little bit hard to see. Maybe if I zoom in, you might be able to see a little bit better. Can you see that better?
Oh yeah, much better.
Okay, so now we have the green is the placement. The next is the tack down. Let me hit the next one over. Make sure it's centered, bring it up. And these are those 2 lines that are going to be stitching the fabric to the top and the bottom of the zipper. The fabric's down here, the fabric's up there. And all I'm doing is centering it now in between the tack down stitch. That looks good to me. So now I'm going to go ahead and select the next item. And that's one of the decorative arches. We're going to go into edit. And this one first, let's size it a little bit. I think I increased the size on this one and made it a little bit bigger. Maybe not quite that big.
So in case some of you are watching this, that noise that you heard, the machine will tell you that it can't get any larger. So it'll go beep, beep. That's as wide as it can get. So that's what that noise was. You can't screw it up.
Yeah. Right. And, oh, here's another good tip. Let me go, let me get back. Okay. So on this design that I'm using, this little scroll, doesn't really matter because like I said, it's kind of a sketchy design, if you can see it.
Yeah, we can see it great.
If you are resizing a built-in design on the machine and you're going to make it larger, you want to definitely make sure that this button is touched. And why? Because it's going to, whoops. Okay. Now it's highlighted. Now when you resize that, it regenerates the stitches. So if you have some design and say it's 3 inches and you want to enlarge it to 5 inches, if you don't have this button clicked under the size, it's going to be really loose and it's not going to fill in nicely. If you have that clicked, it regenerates all the stitches and it's going to look beautiful.
That is a great tip, Reen.
And so now we need to turn this. So I'm going to go into rotate 90. And now you can kind of see how we're getting this to come along, right?
Oh, yeah.
And where do I want to put this? It's kind of whatever is pleasing to you. You can move it, keep moving around, whatever you want to do. I'm going to say that looks good to me. Hit the arrow, select arrow over. It's picking the other scroll. Let me go ahead and I have to go and size it first because if I rotate it first, and then I want to resize it, it's going to put it right back where it was. So I might as well do my resizing first. And I think I made it about that size. It was about 2.5 inches. So if I go into edit and rotate, because I want it to kind of go the opposite way there. And let's move that up a little bit. I'm going to wait and adjust where I want that scroll to be after I get my letter sized and moved in. So let's size our letter a little bit. Now this one, you'll notice it's grayed out. It's automatically going to adjust the size of the stitches when you want to increase the size of the letter. And like Angela said, hear that? It's telling me that's as big as it's going to go. I'll bring it down a little bit. I think I made mine about 1.25 inches. But this is all up to you. It's what you want to do. So let's move that up a little bit. I think I kind of like that. Maybe one more click. I actually kind of like that. I'm not even going to move this bottom scroll. I'm going to leave it where it's at. If I hit the select, yeah, I'm pleased with that. That's really nice. So I hit the select arrow, and I've got the last step here, which is the that straight line that I drew. That straight line needs to fill in this opening here on the side. So I'm going to just, I got to go back to edit, rotate. And this time I'm going to use the 10 degree. And I can fine tune it. Let me kind of get it in place here. And I can use this button here. And I can use my arrows and I can get it, whoops, exactly where I want it. I can even zoom in some more.
Oh, wow. We can really.
And I mean, you can sit here and that kind of looks like it's pretty good right there to me. So hit OK. Now we're done. The design is all completed. Let me kind of zoom out a little bit so you can see it. So did you kind of understand everything that I did there? It was
totally.
It's all kind of pretty easy here. We're ready to stitch it. We just got to hit embroidery. And we're over to the embroidery side of the machine, and it's ready to stitch out. So
that's awesome.
I'm going to have to move my camera again to actually see it stitching.
Okay, go on over. And I saw a couple of your questions. Yes, for those of you who rolled in, you can watch the replay because I see Lee saying that she can't take notes fast enough. I was just watching this. I've even learned stuff, and I'm on the Luminaire all the time. So yes, you can go back and replay. So the replay, you can hit pause, go, pause, go, which will be great for, you could just pull this up next to your machine and you'll be ready to go. I see a lot of you asking questions, what machines have this feature. Quite a few Brother machines do. And if you call your Brother dealer, I'm sure they have some pretty good deals right now. So she's just getting her machine set up. Oh, her sewing room is looking so good. I love it. I saw Carrie in here. Hi, Carrie. Susan, she's going to show step by step from beginning to end how to get that lining in there. This is always the wow spot, I have to say, when she does this. So I think are you ready, Reen?
Okay.
All right, Reen, we are ready for you.
All right. How does it look? Can you see the machine good?
Yeah, we can see it great.
Okay, great. Let me just move it just a smidge because I'm going to have to get in there. All right, so we're ready to stitch. Now, probably your first question is, well, how big do I know how to cut the pieces? Well, you created the design, so you're going to have to figure out how big to cut the pieces. Welcome to my world. This is how, when I'm creating a design, like in my software or something, no one tells me or nothing tells me how big I need to cut all my pieces. So I get to this point in the design and I come to my machine like I am now, and I'm going to start to do some measuring and stuff and figure out how big pieces need to be. So I'm going to use, let's see, for this design, I've got my 8x12 hoop. The machine comes with a 9.5 by 14, perfectly. I'm sorry, the Luminaire comes with a 10.5 by 16, perfectly fine to use that hoop. But I've hooped some lightweight cutaway poly mesh stabilizer. And let me get the hoop on here. It's going to move the carriage around a little bit. And let's see, the first step is the zipper placement line. Lower the foot and let it stitch the first step so we know where to put our zipper.
So you're just on the stabilizer right now, right, Reen?
Right, I'm just on the stabilizer. And again, some of you might wonder, well, how do I know how to stitch it out? How do I know how to create all these pieces and the parts and things? It comes from experience. Like I said, I've been doing this for, almost 20 years. So, but if you want to create your own designs, it's really just thinking about the steps that you need and creating them.
Hey, Reen, what size needle are you using?
I'm using just a 7511.
All right, perfect. Thanks.
Usually I use a 7511 or a 8012. Those are basically the needles that I use. Okay, so I have a zipper, and I know my zipper placement is 6 inches. I think I cut my zipper about 7 inches. And I'm going to take the hoop off a little bit because this is how I like to install my zippers. I like to use this double-sided tape. It's 1/4 inch.
Hey, Reen, will you lift up before you do that, will you lift up your mat out of the bright light so they can see the stitching? There we go. Yeah, now they can see it. Great.
Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm putting this double-sided 1/4 inch tape along both edges on the inside of my zipper placement. I got to set it down so I can put the other piece of tape on, but after I get them on, I'll lift it up again so you can see. And probably one of the hardest parts of this is getting this tape off. Getting that paper off of the tape is probably one of the hardest things. Okay, this one came off really well.
Is that a plastic or metal zipper you got there?
Oh, it looks like it's metal, but it's not. It is a nylon zipper. Never, ever, ever use a metal zipper in hoop design, because at some point we have to stitch over it. Okay, so you can see I put the tape down. This is sticky tape. Whoops, pulled it up. And now I'm going to take my zipper and place it right side up and center it in this line in the placement box. So let me set it down here so I can get it in line and press it down to the tape. And I'm putting my pullover on the left-hand side, but that's just me. You could put it over here, but the zipper is right side up.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. The zipper is facing right side up, correct?
Right. And what I like about using this tape too is that if I don't quite have it in the line, I can pull it back up again and get it in the line. Okay, so there it is. I'm going to put the hoop back on the machine. And remember, our next step now is the step that's going to stitch along both edges of the zipper tape, tacking the zipper down. So now we don't have to worry about our zipper moving.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah, we're going to have to work on the back side of the hoop during this design. So we want to make sure that zipper doesn't go anywhere.
Hey, Reen, do you ever have any problem with the tape gumming up your needle?
No, I don't. There have been certain brands that, I've had some problem with, but, just work, try different types and see what works best for you. So it's just about got the zipper tacked down. And I really like the tack down stitch because I don't have to worry about that zipper anymore now.
That's perfect.
And let me hold it up here. I know it's black on black. I don't know if you can really see, but it's near the edge of the zipper tape on both sides.
They could see enough even when the machine was stitching, so they got the idea.
All right, so I need to place the next pieces, and I can look at my screen, and I know you can't see the screen of the machine. It's showing me that it's going to be working. The next stitch is going to go on this edge of the zipper. And that's determined by the machine, okay? Some of these things, when you work in my design center, the machine will determine the steps. Like a lot of times I like to work at the bottom of the zipper first, but the machine wants to go up here, so we're going to go up there. Okay, so our zipper tack down was like 6 inches long. So I'm going to cut my first piece of fabric. I know I'm going to cut it 7 inches. I'm going to use a ruler. My ruler is my friend when I start figuring out how big to cut pieces. So I know that the piece is going to go up here. And we know that our design is about 11.5 inches. It's almost as long as the entire hoop. So if I hold my ruler here, I can see I need a piece that's about 2.5 inches. So I've already pre-cut all my pieces because of course I've stitched this design out a few times already.
But it's more fun when you do it live, right?
Right. So the first thing to do is to turn the hoop to the back side. And let me give you a big tip on my designs. And this is just for my designs because I don't know about any other designers, how they do their things. But in all of my instructions, when I show the hoop, it looks just like this. The part that hooks to the machine is over here on the left-hand side. When I say go to the back side of the hoop, we turn the hoop like a page. Then the part that's on the hooks to the machine is on the right-hand side. And that's how all of my instructions are. So it's something that you should pay attention to when doing my designs to make sure you get the pieces placed how they need to be.
Remember that. Think of a book. Open,
right.
Close. Open, close.
And another tip on my designs. This is going to be my lining fabric. It's some little scissor fabric. All lining pieces, I'm going to say for 99% of my designs go on the back side of the hoop. All main fabric pieces go on the front side of the hoop. So we're going to take this, and since we're working at the top edge of the zipper, I'm going to place it right side down, centered here on this placement line. And I'm going to have to use some tape. And let me just grab my tape here. I've got some pieces I already kind of
Thank you, Michelle.
Pulled off. And I'm just taping the corners. Some people, I do a lot of classes, and people get a little crazy with tape. You only need to tape down the corners. So I got on the back side, taped on the corners. I'm turning it to the front side, and I got a piece of fabric cut the exact same size. This one's going on the front. It's my main fabric, so I'm going to put it right side down. The edge is even with the top edge of that zipper. And I'm going to, this one I'm not going to tape down. A lot of times when it's fabric on the front side of the hoop, I necessarily don't tape it because gravity's just going to hold it down. I'm going to watch though to make sure it doesn't shift because you know how that always happens.
Someone asked, she's using an embroidery hoop. I mean, not embroidery hoop, the embroidery foot. They asked what foot you were using.
Right. We're doing this. The embroidery machine is doing all of this. So it's all embroidery mode, embroidery feet, everything. Okay, so it is stitched on these two fabrics. And I want my case to be padded. You know, I want a little bit of batting in there. So I cut a piece of batting the same size as these fabric pieces. I'm putting it right up here. I'm matching up the long edge of the batting with that seam that just stitched. I'm going to take this top piece of fabric and I'm folding it up. And this I'm going to tape up here. I can either, you know what? Sometimes I like to pin it. I know that I'm way out of my stitch line when it needs to stitch up there, but I'm just going to go ahead and pin it. I'm going to go to the back side. I'm going to take this piece of fabric on the back side and untape it. And I'm going to use the same pieces of tape. I'm going to fold it up and tape the corners back down. Okay.
So now she's on the back side, in case you guys missed that. That's the back of the hoop.
We're on the back side. All right. Make sure I just get this taped because we don't like it when our tape comes off. Whoops. So now I'm going to put the next piece because the next part we're going to be working at the bottom half of underneath the zipper, the bottom half of the hoop. I'm on the back side, so I might as well put the back piece of lining on. Remember, lining pieces all go on the back side of the hoop. This one's going to go right side down, and one short edge is going to line up at the bottom edge, that placement line. Now, how big did I know how big to cut that piece? Let me just grab my ruler again. And I just measured from the zipper down, and it's about 11 inches to the bottom of the hoop. So I cut this piece 11 inches by 7.
Hey, Reen, are you using medical tape?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, just a general medical tape, guys. That's what she's using. It's brilliant for when you're taping this. It keeps everything in place. So that's
I
just
actually got that tip from a brother educator at an event.
Yeah, me too. I was at the same one.
So now this is on the back side. We're going to go to the front side. Let me get this out of the way here. And I cut another piece, the exact same measurement. It's going on the front side of the hoop, right side down. And the short edge is going to line up along the bottom edge of the zipper. Let me get my little pull out of the way here a little bit. Okay, line that up. Again, I'm not going to tape the piece on the front, but if you feel the need to, you go right ahead. Let me just line it up.
I agree, Shirley. Everyone's saying this is so amazing. So what's amazing is that the inside of her in the hoop project, there's not one bit of sewing here. But the inside looks as good as the outside, and now you can see why.
What I think is amazing is that I created it all on this machine. I did not have to use any other software or anything. I've got the machine, so I'm going to use it. A lot of people have the machine. When I do a lot of classes, I'll ask them, you know, hey, who plays in my design center? And, you know, not a lot of people do. And it's like, why? You have it. Play in it. So the next thing is I want it padded. So I'm going to put a piece of batting, cut it the exact same size, lining up the short edge with that stitch line up there. And I'm just going to pull this piece down. And let me take it off so I get it in there right. And I'm just lining it up, pulling it over. Now, the next things that are going to stitch are those embellishments that we added, the scrolls and the letter. So I want to leave this lining piece up. I don't want to fold it down because if I fold it down, we're going to stitch through it and you're going to see all that on the inside. So we're going to leave that where it's at. Now I'm going to take this and let me just grab another pin here real quick.
That is a great tip. But one thing that you did there that somebody might not have noticed is that when you put the batting under it, you slid that up to the top. So you didn't stitch it and then fold it back. And then you have 2 layers of batting where the zipper is, which can really cause a hot mess. So that's a great way to do that, Reen.
Right. Now, too, on this, I like to, since we're going to be doing some embroidery right here, I'm going to take a couple of pins and I'm going to pin down the sides of this fabric. Just because, you know, I don't want any kind of puckering or anything. I could have, after I created this design in my design center and I was stitching it out the first time, I thought, you know, I should have made a basting stitch to go around here. Maybe next time. It's an option you can do. So the next steps are going to be stitching the scroll that we put in at the top and the bottom, and then the letter R. So it'll take, I don't know, maybe about a couple minutes at least for this to stitch.
So while it's stitching, you guys can watch it. You have so many people that are excited to watch this. Now, if you do not have my design center, just wait till the end, and Reen has some ideas for you on how to get that. Linda said, I have a cough drop in my mouth, so sorry. Yes, Karen, this is recorded. You go back and watch it from the beginning.
So it's, even though all the colors on this, the scroll, the bottom scroll, the letter R, they were all black when we brought them in, the machine is going to stop between each one. That's something the machine does. So if you wanted to make different colors, you could change your thread.
I love watching this. So you can see how bright the light is. I know, Karina, there's actually 823 people watching. No pressure, Reed, no pressure. And Jackie, just so you know that this feature, this is the Luminaire, which is the top of the line, but it's also available on the Stellaire, the Dream Machine. There are other brother machines that this is available on. There's a 10 needle that has this on there. So ask your brother dealer. They have other machines as well. So
right, you can do this on any of those machines.
Oh, Leah, don't worry. I did not get sick in the, I've just been on live shows all day, so it makes my throat dry. Trust me. I wasn't allowed in the hospital. They don't let you do that. I had to sit in the car. Delia said she's definitely going to try this.
Oh, it's so easy. Once you start, you you won't want to stop. It's so fun to just sit and play in my design center. And what I'm showing you is just, we're barely scratching the surface of what my design center can do.
Oh, Rhonda, you don't need to get the measuring tape ribbon from Reen because I thought it was ribbon too. And all she did was take one of her measuring tapes that was forever long and cut it up, and that's what she used. So just grab one of your measuring tapes.
Right, and that's actually going to be part of the next step. So all I did was, here's part of the measuring tape. I cut it. We can even see I cut it a little over 4 inches long. I got a little swivel hook that's an inch wide. We're just going to put it in there. And what I like to do too is take a piece of tape. Let me grab the tape here.
I agree.
Like to tape it because see how it moves? It's pretty slippery. So I just like to tape the end together so it doesn't move on me. And we'll be adding that in really soon.
I agree with Helen. She does make this look so easy. Now you know why we're such good friends.
And on Angela's, the scissor case I made Angela, again, all those, her decorations that are on there were built in off the machine.
So for those of you popping in, I had no idea this was in there. I can't believe I didn't know that. I think I'm going to be doing towels with that. And then here's some up at the top. Super fun.
All right, so this part is done now. You can see how it stitched.
Wait, let me bring you closer. Hold on a sec. Okay, bring it back up there. Yes, that looks great.
Okay, so we're going to go to the back side now because we have to bring this lining down. See, if we would have brought it down earlier.
Yes. So now everyone can see why you. So do you all see why she did that now? That's a great way to show that from the back. So you see it embroidered all of that and none of it's on the lining. Great tip. Awesome, Reen.
Let me set this down for 1 second because I want to get another piece of tape here. Because I want to tape this down. I don't want this moving or shifting on me. And then we're going to do another one of my tips.
Thanks, Rhonda. Rhonda said she could watch this all day. Well, I can too because she's doing all the work.
I've given you guys all my tips that I usually give in classes. So back here, right here in this area, that's the zipper is underneath this piece of stabilizer. So what I like to do at this point is I take a pair of small scissors and I'm going to trim out this piece of stabilizer so we can get in it. If we finish it all up and I leave that piece of stabilizer there, well, you know, how am I going to get in there? So it's easier if we trim it out now than if we trim it out later. So let me just kind of move it. Let me get it started and I'll show you how quickly it goes. The only thing you have to remember is don't cut your zipper.
So you're trimming just the stabilizer.
Right. Let me get it started here and I'll lift it up. So I've taken the scissors and I've trimmed the bottom. Let me trim the edge. And if I turn it this way, I mean, you can really just get your scissors under here and then I'm just sliding them, cutting that stabilizer.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, so now I've got my zipper areas trimmed out here on the back. Let's go over to the front. Next thing, most important thing, unzip your zipper halfway.
Now just halfway, guys, don't forget.
Yeah, halfway. Don't get over here where our stitching is going to happen later on. All right, so now, and halfway, I use the little notch in the hoop there. So now it's time to add our little measuring tape hanger, if I can remember where I put it. It crawled away on me.
I'm so grateful. All of you that come back and watch the live shows every day, and you see me running around saying, I can't find this anywhere, kudos.
All right, so I'm going to line it up here with the center mark.
Okay.
And I'm basically just going to put the fold of the tape right at the top of the zipper there. Or I'm right at the top of where this top piece of fabric folded. And let me just tape it in place. All right, and get it straight. And
yes, Paula, you'll figure this out. I know you will.
all right, so now I have that on. The next piece we have to put on is the piece that's actually going to form the back side of the case. And how big do I know how to cut that piece? All the pieces are 7 inches wide. I measure from the top to the bottom, and that was about 14 inches. So I'm going to take the back piece of fabric, right side down on the front side of the hoop. Okay, you can all see that.
Could you hold the whole thing up just for a second so they can see how it's covered? There you go, guys.
I covered the whole hoop. Here's my little measuring tape hanger up there. Now I'm going to take a piece of batting and I'm going to place it on top of that because I want the back side of the case padded too. The case is padded all the way around. And we're ready to put it back on the machine. And the next step that's going to stitch, remember that straight line that I drew and I filled in the that opening on the edge?
Right.
That's how this piece and back piece and batting are going to get attached just by that little straight line. It's going to hold these pieces on enough for us to get the last step ready and finished.
Yes, Mary, you can stitch the tape. It doesn't matter, 1 iota. And I saw one more good question. Hey, Reen, just real quick, I got one more up here for you. Marcia wants to know if you embroidered above the zipper like mine. Mine looks like this with the embroidery up here, like you did on mine. Would you pull the lining in the back away and embroider like you did on the other? Would you put like you did on the other side, would you pull the lining away?
Right. I would not have folded it up yet. I would have went ahead and stitched any decorative part above the zipper before I, put that lining back over it because I don't want anything showing underneath here.
Right. Okay, great.
It would have been the exact same way above the zipper as below the zipper. So we only have one more piece of fabric left and it's lining. So it goes on the back side of the hoop. So let me turn it to the back side. It's the same size, 14 inches long, 7 inches wide. I'm going to put it on the back side here. I can tape it, or sometimes I like to pin it. I'll go ahead and let's just tape it.
And you have that wrong side down, right?
Wrong side down. It's on the back side of the hoop. All lining pieces go on the back.
The back of the book. The back of the book. Yes, yep. And wrong side down. Yay, Veronica figured it out.
I must say that 100 times in class at an event. Back side of the hoop, wrong side down. All right, so we're ready to stitch it all together now. We're using the last step is that very first step that we created in my design center, the one that looks like the big long triangle with the opening on the side. And it's going to go ahead and stitch around.
Yes, Rhonda, you are going to be excited to do this. Absolutely.
I just went over the measuring tape. I like to kind of keep this smoothed out because I don't want any puckers or any movement of the batting. And it's going to come back around again. That's what the running stitch does in my design center. It actually stitches it twice. So it's just reversing itself and going the other way.
I'm just like, I could see some questions on this. So do you remember when Reen had the one line on the front side and then we had the whole other section? Well, now that the lining's on there, you need a hole to turn this around. In case you're wondering, wrap your mind around this. That's what this is for. So now hopefully it's all coming together for you. But ask your questions. We'll take them.
Right. So, yeah, as soon as this is done, you're going to see all about that line.
Cheryl says, I can't believe she did that in an hour.
Okay, so we're done. Now,
can you hold that up? Okay, yeah. That's the front.
And you're going to think, oh, no, the thing is sewn together. No, 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 no. If we go to the back side, here's the opening. I got my fingers in the opening. Okay. So now we're ready to come out of the hoop.
All right.
Out of the hoop.
Yes, Rhonda. It's on your dream machine. Yep, yep. You sure can.
Let me take this pin out.
Mildred, the replay, if you hit share on this video to your own timeline, that's the easiest way to find this again, or come back to the Brothers Sew's YouTube or Facebook page to watch the replay. All right, Reen, let's see. Oh.
Okay, so it came out of the hoop. Now I have another tip. On this design, especially since we have the small area down here, I'm going to cut the batting away close to the stitching all the way around. That's going to keep a lot of this batting out of this little area down here, because we want this point to come out really nice. If Angela shows you hers and shows you the tip down there at the bottom, you're going to see how nicely that tip is pushed out.
Yeah, Rena, that's beautiful.
So all I'm doing is
I make just a little. Now you can see that. There's the close-up.
And all I'm doing is trimming the batting away close to the stitching all the way around. Just this top layer of batting right now. And when I get it done, I'll hold it up so you can see it. But this keeps the batting out of all the tight places and out of the seams.
Hey, Reen, Rhonda says she learned a long time ago to not question Reen's process and just do what she says, and the project magically comes out of the hoop just perfectly. LOL.
Yeah, it's all magic. Okay, so I've trimmed it pretty well around here, so let's look at it. So all I did was trim the batting away because I don't want a bunch of bulk down here in this this tip area.
That looks great.
And I'm gonna get ready to trim it now, the whole thing. I gotta get my bigger scissors. So let me
You don't want to use those itty bitty thread snips for that?
No, not for this. Let me just grab some larger ones here. So I always start on the back side too. I know it's hard to see the thread. Oh, I had to
bring you back up.
So here's our opening right here. I always like to start at the opening so I know where it's at. I'm going to trim on either side of the opening first.
Magic, Sue, it's magic. You just got to trust here. You just got to trust.
So when I trim around this, I'm going to be trimming a 1/4 inch, next to the outline stitch, but I want to leave the opening longer. So I like to take care of that first so I don't forget.
That's a good idea.
Okay, so when I start doing this, I can barely see that thread. So I need to trim it from the other side. Let me do that. Now that I know where the opening is, I can see the line here better.
Oh yeah, we can see that better too. Karina, I'm laughing out loud at what you just said.
So I'm cutting through everything. I'm cutting through the edge of the zipper. Now, when I get up here and you see my little measuring tape hanger, I don't want to cut this really short, because if I do and I start hanging my scissor case from something, that might pull out. So I'm going to not trim that off. So I'm going to trim the fabric in front of it and the fabric behind it. I got to take the tape off where I taped it on when it's stitched. But I'll just go behind it.
I agree, Alice. That was a great tip. So all of you that can't, they're still like, they're all thinking that this is going to turn out the wrong way. You guys just have to watch.
Ye of little faith. Okay. Whoops. I didn't cut through the lining. I usually use my rotary cutter, especially on these long straight edges. Okay. Here's my opening. I didn't cut that off. These small areas here, I'm going to clip into the curve, just like when Angela makes a garment pattern, like around any curves, you're going to clip into them so that, when you turn it, it looks, turns out, really nice. I'm doing the same thing. All I'm doing is just kind of snipping into the curve. I'm not snipping into the stitching. I'm going to do it there. And
hi, Mary. Great to see you on YouTube, by the way.
Up here at these round edges too, I'm going to do it. Okay. Now, another tip that I give in class is here at the opening, okay, let me go to this back side. You only have two fabrics that make your opening, your lining pieces. See, there's the opening. It's this lining piece and this lining piece are the opening. So all these pieces behind it, that's bulk. I'm going to trim those down 1/4 inch. I'm all about getting rid of the bulk.
Oh, Reen, I got to just read this to you before you turn it. So where did she go? Pamela said she threw away one of her first line designs by Reen. I was convinced I did it wrong. Her husband came in and figured out the turning process, and it was perfect every single time.
Sometimes it just takes a man to do it. All right. So when we go to turn this one, you know, this area down here is kind of small. Okay. And let me just warn you right off the bat that it's a little small down there. So what I like to do is I'm going to get my finger inside the case and I'm going to start down here at this tip. And I'm going to start to get it pushed in. And then of course, this will be the area that I'll have the problem with. Okay. So I'm just kind of turning it. I don't want to push all that fabric and bunch it up at this tip because like I said, it's a small area. So that's going to be good for now. Let me work on getting the rest of the fabric out.
So all of you that are rolling in late, don't forget, share this video or save it because she's showing you from beginning to end how to make this. And those of you that do not have my design center, she has another option for you at the end. So
now I've turned it to the lining side and I'm just using a little chopstick here to push all the corners out because you want everything pushed out really nice.
You've got all kinds of, I'm getting all kinds of ideas. We could use chopsticks, forceps.
Well, okay, you just mentioned the forceps. I got my hemostats right here because this, like I said, this is a very tight area. So I'm going to use my hemostats. I'm just going to reach them in there. I'm not really even clamping them together because I don't want to take a chance of ripping my fabric, but I got to get this area out. So I'm just kind of pulling it out nice and easy. And as soon as I get out enough of it, I will, I'll use my little chopstick again.
Oh, we got crochet hooks. So many ideas. So many ideas.
Yeah. So let me try using my chopstick again. But this is really one of those things that come in a bag of stuffing. All right. So see, it's important you get this point out. Look how nice I'm getting the point pushed out.
That's looking great.
Yeah. You want that pushed out really nice. And I've got all the other parts pushed out.
So that's the inside of the bag if you guys haven't figured that out.
Right. So now what I like to do is I use like a fusible tape. Let's see, I had some here. It's just a, of course, it rolled away on me. But, you know, oh, here it is.
A shift bob thing.
It's double-sided fusible. I would take a piece and iron it here onto this little flange. Peel the paper off, fold it in, fold both edges in, and I would press it. And actually, I have my iron already. I'm going to just run over and press it really quick because I'm OCD about pressing.
That makes two of us. That's the only thing I'm OCD about, but it is definitely pressing.
Right. I mean, it just makes it look nicer.
I know, Peg. I know. Yeah, no, Fran, we're still live. We're still live.
All right. So.
Okay, hold on. Let me just bring you up by yourself so they can see the. Okay, that looks great.
Okay, so now we just need to open up the zipper all the way. And let me get my hand in here. And we're going to turn it one more time.
Thanks, Ursula, for helping. Thank you. Thank you.
And again, that the tip here at the bottom is going to be where a lot of the bulk is. So let me try to start working it out.
I love the tape on the opening. I would have just automatically gone to my sewing machine to stitch that. I like the tape. I like the tape a lot.
Sometimes if you do that, you're going to see it somehow. You know what I mean? It's going to make a little bit of bulk.
Yeah.
So,
Connie wants to know, are you using Angela's clapper?
Actually, I do. I use it on everything. That's why, show yours again, Angela, and see how nice and flat it is. And
Look at how gorgeous.
It's really nice.
See that?
And yeah, I use the clapper on all of my stuff.
Yes, Kay, you do need to do this. And Sheila, yes, just hit replay, share this to your timeline. You can watch the replay. That's the easiest, but you can always, for the gazillionth time, you guys can go back to Brother Sew's Facebook page anytime, their YouTube page, and scroll through to find videos. We've got Australia in the house.
I got the point out really nice on this one.
Let me bring you up here by yourself so we can, oh, look at that.
And I'm going to run and iron it one more time.
Sue says you made a believer out of her. All right, Sue. See how beautiful that is?
I got my clapper out. Just kind of.
I thought so too. Sharon, do you live under a rock? No, you don't live under a rock. The tailor's clapper is what I use for pressing. I got it around here somewhere. All right. Oh, let's see. Hold on.
I got a little bit of, here's some of my tape from my, when I.
Oh my gosh, I love it. It looks fantastic.
Now here's the real test. Open it up and let me see if my 10-inch scissors fit in. Perfect.
Oh, perfect. Okay, I love that.
Then I also.
Everyone give Reen the love on that. You did that live and it turned out gorgeous.
And that as a bonus, I have 11-inch shears and they will fit in also.
Oh.
Zip it up.
That's perfect.
They fit in, so.
Perfect,
I mean,
perfect.
Yeah, it's just, you know, my design center is just so much fun.
Lee, everybody's loving the idea. You have so many things in there. First of all, everyone's googling over the quilt on your wall as they're looking at that. It's like I Spy.
Yeah, that quilt, actually, someone gave that to me at an event I did.
Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, Reen, that is super cute and so easy.
It was. It really was. It's just a matter of sitting down and thinking about the steps.
Gorgeous. All right. So do you guys have any questions for Reen? Because you can go back and watch this from the beginning and make sure that you share it, because if you have my design center, you can hit play and stop and follow along during the whole process. Reen, that was amazing.
Well, thanks. I enjoyed it.
Everybody's saying thank you, thank you. All right, go back so we can see you.
Okay, I got to move my camera, so.
All right, I'll bring you up I'll put you down for a second. Everyone's saying great gifts, great gifts. I know, Sharon, was this a great video or what? I love watching Reen do this. She makes it look so simple. And again, like Susan said, you made a believer. You look and you're like, this is not going to come out right. It's going to all be inside out. So Patty, to rewatch this, you can go to Brother Sew's Facebook page. That's where we are. Or you can share it on your own timeline. And Reen is back. All right, Reen.
If we have time, I got some other things I can show you that I've made using my design center.
Oh, we'd love to see that.
All right, so let's see. I made this in my design center. It's a sunflower.
Oh, that's pretty.
A little bit of trapunto. I don't know how well you can see that. The sunflower is puffy.
That's beautiful.
You know, all in my design center. Little heart-shaped pouches. You can make, with all those built-in shapes, you can make a zipper bag in any shape, any size that you want. Notebook covers. Very, very easy to do. Let's see what else. I made a little case like this. It's fully lined, put sunglasses inside. It has quilting on it. It's pieced in the hoop. That was easy to do. Those two lines that we did when I did the 2 stitch lines to put the fabrics on above and below the zipper, put them about 1/4 inch apart, and you have piecing lines.
Everybody's saying thank you, thank you, thank you.
you enjoy it. This, I want to show you this because this is not in the hoop, but it was in my design center.
Oh, look.
My grandson Ethan, when he was, I think he was 5, he drew a picture of himself, and I scanned it and basically just touched the, the lines to apply a line stitch. This was a triple stitch, and I stitched it on a towel for myself, my mother-in-law, and my daughter-in-law.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. That's so cute.
And you could fill it in. He didn't color it in, so I didn't want to change his artwork, but you could add fill stitching in here. You can do so many things. I know you've shown how to do your signature before. That's really fun.
That's a great one. I'm reading, everybody's giving you a ton of love on this. So, Reen, I have, for those of you that cannot, I mean, if you're looking on the screen, I don't know if you're on a cell or how you're watching this. If you look above, that's how you can follow. Oops, let's see. I'll bring us. Did I mute Reen? Sorry. You can follow us on Instagram. I have the link up above, or not the link, but Reen's on Instagram, on Facebook. Her website's down below. So is Brother Sews, if you're looking to find out if your machine will do this. And my website's down there as well, because I post all these to my blog when we're finished. So Reen, I know that there's going to be somebody that comes on here, there already has been, that do not have my design center, but they have a Brother machine and wondered if they could still make this. You sell a ton of designs on your website, right?
Right.
Do you think that you might be adding this up there?
Right.
Something similar?
Something similar on my site.
All right, guys. So I told you that she wouldn't leave you all alone if you didn't know that. No, Jay, Taylor's clapper is not pressing down. Totally different things. And Arnell says that you are the best designer. I agree.
Oh, you are now.
So Rose did her son's machine. Rhonda says, thank you. Rhonda, thank you, by the way. Thanks for the good laugh on there, too. So, Reen, what is your embroidery on Facebook? You have a group.
Embroidery.
Oh, sorry. I accidentally hit mute. Do it one more time.
It's the In the Hoop Machine Embroidery Designs by Embroidery Garden. It's the Facebook group where we talk about Embroidery Garden designs, and everyone posts photos of what they made.
Excellent, excellent. So Reen is going to be here next week too, in case you guys did not know that. Next week is our apron sew along, and Reen and Molly are going to be joining, and we are going to be sewing all week, and then we're also going to be adding embroidery. Other guests are going to be joining, other brand ambassadors. It's going to be a really fun week. But so Reen, thank you so much. That was a great tutorial. I know a ton of people are going to be going back to watch this from the beginning. And lastly, you'll see Reen on Monday. She'll be back all next week. And tomorrow is a sewing machine giveaway. Reen, you know what I'm making tomorrow? Let me show you. I'm not going to be using my design center, but I am going to be using a built-in design in the machine, which you could also get this on iBroidery, doing a fish towel. Oh. And it has appliques that go in. I'm going to use a scan and cut the appliques, and that's what I'm going to be making tomorrow at noon. Yes. So how many of you, I know a lot of people are logging off. It's time for dinner in our area, but how many of you are going to be joining us for the apron sew along? Yay. That's going to be so much fun every day next week. And by the way, a very, very happy anniversary to you, Reen.
Oh, thank you.
She had a big anniversary yesterday. Well, I don't know if you call it big, but it's pretty big. What? How many years was it?
42 years.
That's awesome. Awesome. So great to see you. And everyone, Brother Sewing family, thanks for joining us today. And I cannot wait. Be sure to tag us in these when you do these, because we would love to see your zipper bags. So Reen, you have a wonderful night, and I'll look forward to seeing you on Monday.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.